Hello, guys. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Natasha.
And we were wondering,
are you free for coffee?
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, guys.
We've got a fun episode today. Huffington Post had an article. It's been out and then they've revised it a couple times. It's been around, but we think it's something worth talking about. It is the 15 things every couple must discuss before getting married. And it's pretty interesting.
Hard throat clear.
So we're going to just go down and unpack it. Number 1 is outstanding debt.
Yes.
I think that's a great one, especially student loan debt. A lot of people have that. Or any debt. You know, that's a big one.
People need to know what they're getting into. That's just the reality of it.
Yes, they do. Number 2 is children.
Baby.
Do you want children? When you want them? How many you want? If you don't want, what are we going to do to prevent it?
Right.
You know, there's lots of angles to that.
Yes.
And even, would you change your mind? Like, are you open? Because, you know, some people
right. Is this
might
a
feel
hard, absolute no? Or is this a not right now because of X, Y, Z?
Or some people are hard no and then later change. I mean, people change. That would be my thought.
It's just a necessary conversation.
It is a necessary conversation. Number 3 is location. Well, they actually put location. So place matters. And the older I get, the more it matters. So, you know, there's a lot of people that like to live around their family.
Yes.
You know, parents and siblings and things. And some people don't.
Right.
So you need to have that discussion, because if both of y'all want to be around your families and they don't live in the same place, then you got an issue.
Work? Right.
So that's a definite thing to talk about. This one, let's see. 4 is religion. So
it matters.
It matters. So if you are a particular faith, and your significant other is or is not, y'all need to talk about that.
Yep.
Now, if you're to the point where you're about to get married, you know, maybe it's just not an issue.
Right. Maybe.
You know, I mean, because I think that would have caused some friction already. If it's, you know.
But you know what? It reminds me of, and we've talked about this show before, Girlfriends, when Tony Childs got married. And then, like, he's Jewish. And then there's this whole, like, baptism argument. You know, it was just one of those things where they didn't think about that. They did not think about how this was going to impact.
Right.
So.
Well, and then having children changes that. Like, how deep you want to go in.
That's right.
Maybe you're not so deep, and now all of a sudden you're in it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to think about. And compromise. Okay, let me preface this with all of these by saying, if you love each other and your partner is worth the risk, which they ought to be,
if you're marrying
shouldn't be fooling with them. You can compromise.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I don't think you have to be a you know, all or
super
nothing
rigid
person on any of these. So let's just, you know, say that. So 5, this is so funny, IKEA. And, you know, if y'all, you know, you've been to IKEA before, but my goodness,
listen,
it is.
It's almost like taking a road trip together. You don't know how you're going to feel until you've done it.
The first time I went to IKEA, y'all know I have grown children. So it was somebody getting an apartment or, I don't think it was a dorm. I think it was an apartment. And you know, the older we ain't putting together furniture. I am not putting together furniture anymore. I am past that. Okay. But at that age, they're putting together furniture.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
At that age, you're paying for it. The parents are paying for it. So we went and I'm thinking, you know what? Let me go. I think I got enough money. We don't have to put this together. Because I don't think
this is not for me.
I don't want to push this buggy, this car,
push it to that little side where they're just huge.
but I've gotten better, and I do love IKEA. IKEA, I'm not mad at you. They have a lot of cute stuff, and I've bought things, but it is a challenge.
It is its own thing.
And are you a do-it-yourself person? That's the other thing,
That's
too.
true.
Because if you're a DIYer,
because it's kind of like a box of cake mix.
Your person
They're giving
is
you
not,
most of it, but you better have some eggs and some oil.
Do you like cooking, baby? Some folks, some
people don't want to do it.
Bake. I want to put together.
So true.
So that's a thing, and I really do think that's a DIY person.
It is.
Because DIY people, they want to do everything themselves.
Yes,
they're just that. I have friends like that. They want to garden. They want to. Paint. They want to, and y'all, I don't want to do nothing. I'm telling you,
Lisa said,
I don't want to do it. So that's an issue. That's an issue. So if your person is, and they're cool with doing it by themselves, now that's cool. Like if you want to do it. But I'm not doing it. I'm not helping you. So that's a discussion. Right. Because if they're looking at you saying, I need help or I need you to do it, and you're not that person,
that's going to
be some problems.
Well, so clearly this is how well do you work together under stress? That's really what IKEA
It
is.
is. You're right.
You're right. I think that's what it is.
6 is dream house. What's your dream house?
It matters.
So if you are a mid-century mod, and your person is a Georgian classical type person, y'all probably gonna have some issues.
Some clash.
So,
and I want to say too, sometimes when you're in this like infatuation stage, you don't realize how small of a dreamer someone is. And if you're a big dreamer and you're a doer, it can be very hard to be paired with someone who is either not a dreamer or not a doer. Either one, like being paired either which way can be very difficult.
Yeah. So these discussions help that come out.
Yes.
Well, with the dream home thing, it's kind of fun to just drive around and see what, like, do you like that house? This is my dream house. I love that house. I love this neighborhood. And you can get a feel for where people are.
Yes. That's a date for us. Like that's something we do. We go get coffee.
I remember doing that.
And we drive around and I like that. I don't like that. Or, that
fun.
would be cute without this.
It's fun to do that. And at any age or any stage of life.
Yeah.
But, and like I said, with all of these, I think they're subject to change. And over the course of my life, these have changed. Oh, yeah. Location has changed. Dream homes have changed.
Yes.
You get different dreams. Yes. You change
so
dreams.
Again, we're not saying to be rigid.
Right.
But it would be good to know these things about your partner.
Right. 7 is bank accounts and bill sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So
please do not assume that just because you were raised a certain way or believe a certain way that they believe the same way.
Correct.
That's just not
and how smart. you want to do that. Probably you guys have separate things going on now. Do you want to continue that? Do you want to have a joint? I heard Steve Harvey say something kind of interesting to have 3 accounts. I think that what he said, she needs an account to do her whatever she wants to do. He needs an account to do whatever he wants to do. And then they need a shared account that, pays all the necessities.
Right.
So his take on it was everybody contributes to the shared account. And then I don't know if you would decide on a predetermined amount for the little separate ones, mm-hmm. or I wasn't sure what his take on that, how you would do that.
Right.
But that was his thing. So if you want to take $100 and throw it in the gutter, you can. You don't have to ask anybody's permission. I have some people I know have an amount. Like if it's under $100, if it's under $500, you don't have to discuss it. We just do it if you want it. But if it's over a certain amount, depending on where you are, what your bank account is, that we need to talk about.
Right.
But under that, so that gives you some autonomy. You don't have to ask for every little nickel mm-hmm. and dime. So that might be a good way to do it. Some of the bill sharing, depending on what each person makes.
Right.
Because it's, if one person makes 100 times what the other person makes, it's kind of unfair.
Yeah, let's not split mortgage 50-50.
Right.
This is crazy.
Right, because their 50 is a lot more than your 50, or
right. Or vice versa.
Or I don't know, maybe percentages that does work out.
Yeah.
Because 10%, it's the same,
right,
proportionately.
Right.
I guess. So I don't know. You have to discuss it, what it means to you, how it matters to you,
Yes.
how it makes you feel.
Because what is a big bill or an important bill to one person could be so insignificant to the other.
Yes.
Like, to me, I do not pay for cable. I cannot fathom paying for cable. I don't mind a few streaming services, but the idea of paying $200 for cable, that gravy runs all over my plate. That is not something that, to me,
that's not important to you.
No, it is completely unimportant. And I'm going to be honest with you. I could make $300,000 a year. I still wouldn't pay for it. It just is ridiculous to me. I just can't. But that's because I'm not a big TV person. That's not my jam. But you could be with someone where they could make $100 a year, and baby, they're putting it towards cable. You have to see what matters.
Well, like my mom has a little saying, you can't tell people how to spend their money.
Yes.
So, and what she's saying with that, it's just like Natasha says, it's just your needs and your wants and what's important to you and what's not.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of guys that love cars. They just love cars, fancy cars. They just like cars. I'm not a car person.
You are not.
Now I want it to crank, and I want to have air conditioning in Texas. You
do have some specifics, but you're not a car person.
But I'm not really a car person. So, in terms of that being like a big, oh gosh, I want X, Y, Z. I mean, there's some cars I think are cuter than others, but is it like a big one?
It's not.
Probably
big for you.
not.
Right.
Well, I love real estate. I like houses.
Yes.
I love houses. I can
now,
move
y'all,
every
let
year.
me tell you. What she lacks in cars, she does make up for
I do like real estate.
Love of real estate.
I do. So, and those are just preferences.
Yes.
But those are things that you have to discuss.
Yes.
So,
or there's going to be
not a right or wrong.
Some really big hurts.
There's not a right or wrong. They're, like I said, they are preferences. They're not, it's not set in stone.
Right.
But the bill pay, it reminds me, I don't know if y'all saw, did you ever see Joy Luck Club?
No.
Oh gosh, you guys watch that?
Is this
so
a show?
good.
See, again, this is
it's kind of
my non-cable having self.
It's kind of a chick flick, although it kind of is a chick flick, but it's really about knowing your worth, and there's so many. It's mother-daughter relationships. It's just a lot of things going on. But one of the couples in this, they follow different couples and different moms and daughters, a lot going on in the movie. But one of the couples, the husband has a very prestigious, high-paying job, and the wife does not.
Okay.
So, but he is such a stickler. Like, you had that pint of ice cream, so you owe me $3.59 for that pint of ice cream.
Like hell.
Or you bought tampons. So that was, when I say a stickler, a stickler. So I remember, and she has this hurt look on her face, but she, concedes, and she does what he asked. And I think her mother is there, or maybe she relays the incident to her mother. I can't remember the exact circumstance, but the mom finds out about it. And she basically tells her, if he is not offering you everything he has with both hands open, like basically just kick him to the curb.
Goodbye.
But it was a real lesson in generosity.
Yes.
In knowing your worth.
Right.
And then in that disparity.
And knowing who you're with.
It could be flipped. Because it could be the woman with the high power job. So I'm just saying one partner.
In general.
It's not a gender thing. But if some person has this big time job that makes millions of dollars and you don't, not that your job is not important.
Right.
That might be your dream job.
Right.
And
you could be serving the community. You could be helping
right.
people.
I was going to say,
you could be a homemaker.
Yes.
And let me just tell you, even though you don't get paid for that, honey, you ought
It's important. And society puts number amounts, value amounts on certain things. And it's, sadly, some things that are very important don't have that dollar amount.
Yes.
So that's something y'all need to discuss. You need to have a partner that values what you do.
What you're bringing to the table.
No matter what you're making.
Yes.
So that's a thing. And if y'all are out there and you're going through this, watch that movie. It's got so
What was the name of it again?
Joy Luck Club.
It
was a book. Club. It was a book, a beautiful book. So read and watch. But that was one of the issues. But it has a lot of different ones. But that one really stuck with me.
Right.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Whoever's listening, that's a big one. And you talk about that. 8 is division of household labor.
Yes.
Now we had an episode about toxic.
Yes, it wasn't
like almost stupidity, ignorance.
Oh,
wasn't it? Were they just pretending?
Was it?
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
so you would do it.
I can't remember the
I
title
think it was
of the
ignorance.
episode.
Wasn't it something like that?
But we did talk about that.
We
and
did.
It's true. Like
people do that.
There's this episode of The Office where one of the guys, he's like, yeah, God, that microwave, it's so bad. And she's like, okay, Ryan, then why don't you clean it? Oh, no, I would just mess that up. Because it was like he's coming to her. She clearly didn't make the mess.
Like you do it.
Like, why the heck would I clean it? You're just as capable as me.
Right.
And then he starts backing up like, I don't, I wouldn't know how to do that. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
So that's a big one. And if you could go in on a maid. That's how I feel. Yeah. About it. Like if there's,
then that takes you back to the top of the list of about discussion of finances.
Money. Right. But because there's a lot of someone was telling me about a family member or something, and the couple was fighting about the house kind of, and like I guess she did not keep as neat a house as his mom, or maybe as he was used to. And it was very contentious.
Yes.
And then, the person was relaying it to me, and I was just like, well, why don't they just pay for somebody to clean it? Because to me, once you're coming to me with that, if you got a problem with it, then either you kick in and get it like you want it, or we need to just get somebody and it'll be like you want.
And maybe.
Because they had kids, they had issues. It wasn't like she was just, that's all she had to do.
Right.
So I was like, what?
Yeah. Why don't you pay somebody to do this?
And that,
if it bothers
like
you
you're
that
complaining,
much, why don't you do it?
Right. And you're doing not anything.
But this is why these conversations matter, because people have preconceived notions. They already in their brain have prescribed, this is what it's going to look like, and this is what I'll do, and this is what they'll do, and yada, yada. But it's just in their head. It's just assumed
it's expectations.
It's expectations.
And a lot of it is from your family. What your family did. Well, my mom cooked every night. My mom cleaned.
Well,
my mom,
good for her.
You could eat off of my mom's floor, that kind of thing. So it's managing those expectations.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Realistically.
So, and really being honest. My mom did X, Y, Z, and that's what I like. That's what I'm used to. Now, the decision is the spouse going to do X, Y, Z?
Right.
And like, how important is it to you that that's
I was just
done?
about to say, and what's the middle ground? What's the compromise here?
Because maybe she's not going to do that, but
she may not be about
she's
that
worth,
life. Right.
We're going to compromise.
Right.
Because I want her, so I can't have this.
Right.
So what do you want? A clean house, or you want the So that's kind of where we are. Or do you want, those are the questions that you have to ask. Number 9, this is a fun one, sex.
Yeah.
So we have a fun little questionnaire for y'all that you can download, and it's kind of cheeky and kind of naughty,
some things about
but it's
yourself.
kind of fun.
And
so
the person
it's kind of vanilla or rocky road. That's
one,
really what it
which
is.
One are you going for?
So,
and listen, those are both great flavors.
Oh, they are.
But if you love rocky road, a bowl of vanilla is not going to do it.
Not going to cut it.
And vice versa. And it should be discussed. I think, it's in those top leading causes of divorce for a reason.
Well, the whole reason, y'all, that we had the questionnaire, because if you've been listening a while, you know that we talked about the first season of Sex Life on Netflix, which was really fun, really spicy. And we talked about it was a lot of fun. So, it was kind of that they had some issues with one partner being pretty rocky road and the other partner not.
Straight up slow turn vanilla.
Right. So, but then the one partner was missing the rocky road because she used to have it with somebody else, but the somebody else wasn't as stable,
right?
Wasn't as committed,
right,
as the vanilla,
right?
So it was just a whole issue. So we talked about it. So, it's kind of, it's funny in a way. I mean, and just kind of embarrassing. So we thought the quiz was kind of a fun way to broach
and
that
even if
topic.
you just take it by yourself, you're like, well, I'm not ready to marry anybody, you can still take it and learn things about yourself.
Right. I'm vanilla with Rocky Road Swirl, or or whatever.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be all or anything.
No.
And that's where the compromise.
Yes.
Like we're saying, like, I am vanilla, but I can have Rocky Road every once in a while.
Right.
And that might be totally cool.
That may be great for that person.
Yeah. So, but you need to have the discussion. This is funny. Hard or soft mattress?
Listen,
that's a big one.
Do you sleep with the fan on? Okay.
Oh,
this
that's
is
another
Texas,
one.
But it's the same difference.
Yes,
it's the same.
Yes. Or
difference.
Even have a fan. Some, like, they don't want a ceiling fan.
I understand what you're saying, but you should see my face, guys.
I cannot live without the fan.
We live in Texas. You could die.
But
I have a friend. She listens to the show, so I will not say any names. But we were talking about AC, and I have the whole rule about, so my birthday's the end of May. It's basically right at Memorial Day. And I always say, like, oh man, if it's hot before my birthday, this summer's going to be a scorcher. But like Memorial Day is when it can hit 100 degrees, and in Memorial Day or after, I'm okay. But if it's hot before then, buckle up, Buttercup, because everyone's going to be melting. And surprise, surprise, we're all out here melting right now in the great state of Texas. And so we were talking, and she's like, yeah, I used to, God, did she say 78? I think she's like,
oh my God.
Gasp.
She's like when? All day?
Oh, Lord have mercy. The whole damn time.
Even at night? Oh my God.
And so we were both raised by our maternal grandmothers. And so I'm like, this is an old people temp. like
with no circulation.
This is like, my blood is thin and it's a little cold. So 78 feels. So I've been trying, guys. I keep it at 69. Okay. No pun intended, baby. With the fans running. Okay. Front room, kids room, our room. There needs to be a fan on. I like it. I like it breezy. I just do. I don't like it.
I'm not that low, but I'm low. So I do like 73, 72, but I can go to 72. At night, 72. It has to be, I get it to put it wherever it needs to be cold.
Wherever the blankets make me feel cozy.
Yeah.
And at 78,
I just have a sheet.
The blankets would suffocate me at that.
And the fan has to be on turbo.
The fan has to be, yes, the fan needs to be going. I need circulation. So I said, Lord have mercy. I bet your bill was so low. So during the day, especially if I'm not home, I've been turning it up to 74. And I mean, like, when I come in the house, I'm like, I'm like a panting dog. And I'm just like, how? But what's funny is when she got with her now husband, he was like,
it's not going to work.
Listen, I promise you, he slid her a smooth 200 and said, you need to turn this down to a normal temp, because this 78 degree. I mean, y'all, listen, if you're not from Texas,
I told y'all we just have hot and hotter.
Hot and hotter.
That's
so
it.
You don't understand. But when you walk in and it was 105 outside, 78 is, you're still sweating.
Mm-hmm.
I want to walk in and that sweat just go cold, where I'm like, ooh, okay, fan. 78, honey.
And it depends on your house too. Some houses are hotter than others.
Yes.
I mean, seriously. But 78 is hot. I don't care where you are.
Hot. That's damn near 80 degrees.
Some, houses are, but yeah, it has to be cold.
So soft or hard is the same to me.
Warm and cool. That's what it is.
Because some 78 is hot,
sweatery, always. I'm cold. You know people like that. They're always cold.
I used to be one of them. I still have never ran into 78.
I've never been that cold person.
Yeah.
No.
Make sure you discuss
I just always run hot.
And to the person listening, I love you. I just can't do 78. I just could not do.
I love you, but I can't live with you.
I could never.
11 is family obligations. Now, what we
Yes.
mean by that is, there's some families, they expect the kids to come home for Christmas or Thanksgiving or certain birthdays or whatever, or they all get together on Saturdays.
Yes. And that can infringe on your traditions. It can infringe on your finances.
Your new
family
unit. So that's something you really need to discuss.
You do.
Now, if you have your significant other, if they're doing this, you need to have the discussion sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Because they've been doing it.
That's right. You're the one that's new.
With it. Right.
Yeah, you're new, boo.
Right. So, that's something you got to talk about. 12 is vacations.
Yes.
Like, do you want a beach? Do you like to go to the mountains?
Yes.
Like Natasha, she's a camper.
Yes.
And, we'd be in big trouble if we was together.
And that's like sexy to me, but that's not sexy to you.
Yeah. 4 seasons.
No.
We're going to camp at
That's not camping.
I'm not camping.
But it's important. And then people who, do you take vacations? I've known couples where that was the argument, is like,
you might be with a workaholic.
Yes.
That just doesn't do vacations.
Yes.
So that's something.
Very important.
13 is names. So are you going to take your spouse's name?
Oh, okay.
Are you going to combine the names? Which is kind of interesting because
hyphenating.
Victoria and David Beckham's son recently got married, and they combined their names.
Yes.
So that's a trend now.
And
so they can do that.
That was a conversation that had to be had.
Yeah. So she didn't just give up. They put them together. So you've got options. So, but you need to talk about it. 14 is career. And I guess the big one on that, if there's someone who has invested a lot of time and money into education and whatever for their career, I don't know. Each of them could have done it, or maybe one did and one didn't. I don't know how that plays out, but the one that did, typically, you're going to kind of lean to them and bending what you want, where you want to live.
Where you want to live, yeah.
And they need extra training, or they need, where you're going to set up your practice. And there's just a lot
or even
that goes into that.
Like if someone, their jam, Tabitha Brown, this makes me think about her. Her husband did law enforcement.
Yes.
And I really think about but her pursuit was to be an actress. And now we all know her, the Whole Foods sandwich, heard around the world. But think about it. Would you want, if law enforcement is his jam, do you want to move to one of the least safe places in America? Probably not. Yeah. So even just the dynamic of who the person is, they love social work. Well, maybe don't move them to a small town because they may be completely unfulfilled when they have 0 clients.
Right.
Or, the same 2 people coming back over and over again.
So that's something that you would have to talk about, how invested the person is in their career. If, no matter how invested, things can change.
Yes.
You're not married to any career. So you can.
And that's another thing. Are you okay with that changing?
Right.
Are you okay with someone spending all these years in school, doing all this stuff, and then saying, you know what?
I don't want to do it anymore.
I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. So
I thought I did,
that's a discussion. So this is a funny one. 15, TV in the bedroom, yay or nay?
Listen, it's important.
I'm a yay, because there is nothing I love better than watching TV in bed, y'all. That is my jam. When my kids were home and teenagers, that is what we did. When they, in the evening, they would pile up in the bed and we would watch MTV, the Kardashians, whatever was on, a teenager-y thing. So,
we have one.
I love doing that.
I don't. We have one because it hasn't went out yet. It's the only reason, it's just one of those things where it was there. It was there. It was just, you get married and then you have how many TVs. And so that's it. But I cannot tell you the last time we turned it on.
But you're just not a TV watcher. And I am. I think boomers are. We're maybe TV
I think so.
I think we are.
I think so, because I just.
But that's my kind of decompress mode.
See, I read. I read before bed.
Watching mindless TV. I don't want it too heavy. I don't want
that
it.
wakes me up, like looking at the screen, and
especially
stuff.
In the bed. When I'm watching in bed, now if I'm watching something serious and I'm really into it, like I'm in here.
Yeah, you're sitting up.
It's kind of before bed. I'm decompressing. I just want to watch some mindless Parks and Rec, something like that, and just chill. So, or Modern Family, something funny and fun, and and in the morning, I love watching Good Morning America. And I'm not really watching it. I'm awake, but it's on.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, it's my jam.
It doesn't do it for me. But this is why these topics are important.
They're important. And like I said, they're just to talk about. They're not set in stone. And it's really all about compromise. Life is about compromise. Yes. I'm telling y'all.
Any relationship, friendship, dynamics at work, it doesn't matter. It's all about compromise.
Everything. It's all about compromise. So we just want to get you thinking about it and talking about it. And hopefully you can iron out some stuff.
Okay. So based on this conversation, who is your sexiest man alive?
Okay. Well, this is not really, he has nothing to do with this, but he's super cute and he has a new series coming out. And he's age appropriate. Y'all know I've been robbing the cradle lately, but it's Jeff Bridges.
Oh,
and he was on the cover of People magazine, because he's recently had cancer. He's in remission now, but he got COVID while he was going through treatment and got very sick, and so it's a whole thing. But he has a new series coming on FX. I think it's this month for sure, but it's called The Old Man. It's kind of a actiony. He used to be an ex-CIA something. And,
just thinking about, in terms of sexiest man alive and thinking about needing to communicate with your partners, there has been some nice little juicy news. Spoiler alert, guys, I've already chose the sexiest man alive before. Accidentally. I didn't mean to re-choose him.
This is my surprised face. Y'all know she does that, right?
You know what? But it just means that my crushes are pure because I just circle back to the same old watering hole over and over and over again. But I guess you could say word on the street, Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey.
This in People magazine. So I think that's
it's confirmed. Okay.
In Essence. I read that.
Oh, okay. Then it's for real.
It's real.
So they're no longer together. But the word on the street was he was ready for a wife. He was ready to settle down, have a wife, start that phase of life. And she was not. And she had been engaged before, which I thought, well,
it's kind of a significant age difference with them when they're at their age.
Right.
I think if they were like a little older.
If you advance both of them 10 years forward, it wouldn't be a significant
but right
age
now it is.
Right. But I'm going to say this, honey, just about everybody would take him. So thank you for letting him go. However, thank you for kind of being a role model. You don't have to say yes to whoever asks you, whoever wants to go to the next level. You have to know when your answer is really a no.
Well, that's why this questionnaire is
matters.
Important.
Yes.
Because you could love somebody, and I can tell you right now, love is not enough.
It's not enough.
There has to be some compatibility.
Yes.
Things. And
if you don't think people in divorce sitting in there in that divorce love that other person? Yes, they do. Plenty of times they do. Yeah. They just simply, whatever it was, they were not compatible enough to keep to overcome whatever that issue was.
So that's why these questionnaires,
these conversations, they matter.
Are important.
They're really important.
Because sometimes you find out some stuff that you are not willing to either compromise on or give up.
Yes.
And then if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. We wish them well.
Yes.
We think they're lovely
she's
people.
young
I'm sorry it didn't
and
work,
gorgeous.
But they're both gorgeous.
She's going to be fine. Michael B. Jordan, okay, literally the epitome of swoons.
Yes.
So they're both going to be fine. Their wounds will heal. But apparently she deleted all their pictures together. Listen, there were a couple of him with no shirt on. She could have kept up for us. But, we'll be okay. We'll just look at him as Killmonger and we'll be fine. But yeah, so he's my sexiest man alive this week because they obviously had some conversations, or perhaps did not have some conversations, and it's a good example of where it ended.
Because some things, to be honest, I do believe in compromise, but there's some things you really can't
You really
compromise.
can't.
Like children.
Yes.
If you really want
Girl.
children and the other person doesn't.
I know 2 people that are divorced behind it.
Somebody,
yes.
if the other person's not willing to give, like, I just don't want this, you can't overcome that.
I really think that's an itch that just gets worse and worse and worse.
There's a few things. Religion might be one.
Yep.
If you're very religious in a certain way and the other person is not. So there's a few things that really can't be overcome. And it's better you find that out now.
Yes, definitely.
Before
because
you walk down the aisle.
Absolutely.
So we wish them well. We wish both of them well. And
we do. And listen, they're young and fine. They're going to be just
young,
fine.
gifted, and black.
That's it. They're going to be just, they're going to be good. Okay, love. Thank you for pulling up a chair and joining us for coffee. Please subscribe to Are You Free for Coffee podcast wherever you are listening. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode and find joy in the little things. Until next time.
Part of the Boundless Audio Podcast Network.